Why did Queen Victoria blame Bertie for Albert's death? Queen Victoria's relationship with her son, Albert Edward, known as Bertie, was deeply strained following the death of her beloved husband, Prince Albert, in December 1861. Victoria blamed Bertie for Albert's untimely demise, a sentiment rooted in complex family dynamics, Victorian moral expectations, and the sequence of events leading to Albert's death. Prince Albert fell seriously ill in November 1861, suffering from what was later diagnosed as typhoid fever. Though modern historians speculate his death may have been caused by chronic illness, such as Crohn's disease or stomach cancer. At the time, Albert was under immense stress, both from his public duties and his role as mediator within the royal family. Albert's health took a critical turn shortly after traveling to Cambridge to confront Bertie about his behavior. Bertie, then a 19-year-old university student, had been involved in a scandal with an actress, Nellie Clifton, during military training exercises. Albert was deeply disturbed by this incident, as it clashed with his strict moral principles. The high standards he set for the royal family were compromised. The confrontation reportedly left Albert exhausted and emotionally drained. Shortly thereafter, Albert's condition worsened, and he died on December 14, 1861, at Windsor Castle. Victoria, devastated by the loss of her husband, entered a profound state of mourning that would last the rest of her life. She wore black for the remainder of her reign and withdrew from public life for many years. Victoria's grief found an outlet in assigning blame to Bertie. She believed that the stress Albert endured in dealing with Bertie's indiscretions contributed to his declining health and ultimately his death. In Victoria's mind, Bertie's actions represented a betrayal of the family's values and added unnecessary strain to an already overburdened Albert. The Queen's intense mourning exacerbated her anger toward Bertie. She was already critical of him for not living up to the high moral and intellectual standards set by Albert. Bertie's carefree and indulgent lifestyle contrasted sharply with the discipline and propriety that Albert and Victoria prized. This disparity deepened her disappointment in him and made him an easy target for her anguish. Victoria's reproach had lasting consequences for her relationship with Bertie. She openly referred to him as the boy who killed his father and distanced herself from him emotionally. Bertie, deeply affected by his mother's accusations, struggled to reconcile her disdain with his own grief over his father's death. For many years, Victoria excluded Bertie from significant royal responsibilities, believing he was unfit to fulfill the role of heir to the throne. Their relationship remained fraught, with Victoria continuing to view Bertie as a source of frustration and disappointment. Modern historians have questioned the fairness of Victoria's accusations. While Albert's visit to Cambridge may have added to his stress, there is no concrete evidence to suggest it directly caused his death. Typhoid fever, combined with Albert's already fragile health, was the likely cause. Victoria's reaction can be understood in the context of her profound grief and the societal expectations of the time. As a widow, she sought someone to blame for her immense loss, and Bertie, whose actions had already caused her much worry, became the scapegoat. Despite their tumultuous relationship, Bertie eventually ascended the throne as King Edward II in 1901 after Victoria's death. His reign marked a departure from his mother's stern approach to monarchy, focusing instead on diplomacy and modernization. Victoria's blame of Bertie for Albert's death remains a poignant example of how grief and family dynamics can intertwine, shaping relationships and legacies in profound ways.